What's up, guys? Caleb Camp with JLA Realty here. Hey, you may have heard recently that the housing market is doing all kinds of interesting things nationally and locally here in Houston. So let's talk about it. All right, so HAR just released this article just a couple days ago about the Houston housing market. It says Houston home prices ease in July as supply hits record high. I've heard a lot of other people talking about it. Michael Berry was talking about this recently, did a whole morning segment on it. And yeah, so Houston, August 13th, 2025, the greater Houston housing market experienced a summer shift in July with growing inventory and steady demand helping to stabilize prices. It has created a more balanced and sustainable market heading into the second half of the year. According to the Houston Association of Realtors 2025 Housing Market Update, a single-family home sales increased 9.2% year over year. A total of 8,300 homes were sold compared to 7,601 last year, when Hurricane Beryl came barreling in and temporarily halted market activity for several days. We all remember that. So it says that July marked the largest year-over-year decline in home prices since 2023. The median price was down 3.1% to around $340,000. The average price was $434,644, which is 1.9% below last year's level. Okay, so what does all this mean for you? So one of the biggest things that I see people struggling with is that they're comparing what's happening right now to what was happening during COVID. And I find myself saying this over and over and over again, but COVID was not a normal market. It's not a sustainable market, and it's not a good market. So what we're dealing with now is a more normal real estate market. It is definitely right now a buyer's market, and really it's because there are so many more houses for sale than there are people actually trying to buy houses right now. One of the things that this does mean is that we should be seeing a stop to home prices jumping and jumping and jumping. During COVID, home prices just increased dramatically. It's just ridiculous, because what was happening is you were having a house listed for a certain amount, and then you were having all these people come in and throw in offers that were, tens of thousands of dollars above the list price of the home. And they were doing that within like a couple of days of the house being listed. I remember so many times I was seeing houses, and it was like on Friday they listed the house and they were saying, okay, best and final offers need to be in by like Friday night at 6. That's insane. That's ridiculous. We don't want that. I mean, it was what it was, but we can't do that long term, and we don't want to do that long term. So what we should be seeing now is home prices not necessarily going down. You are seeing some of that, but what we should see is them starting to stabilize. They're not going to keep jumping up and up and up. The good thing about that is that should mean that over the next year or so, we're not going to see dramatic increases in home value. So that's good news for home owners, because you're not going to see the appraisal district they'll probably still try to do this, but you shouldn't see them coming in and trying to dramatically overvalue your home and causing your taxes to go up and up and up and up and up. They should be stabilizing now. So as you can see right here, single family home sales in 2024 was 7,601, and we're still selling more right now. We've got a positive increase of 9.2%. So homes are still selling more than they were last year at this time in July. The sales price on average has gone down, which is great. That's a good thing. We don't want our home prices to just keep on jumping and jumping and jumping. We want them to stabilize and stop increasing. We don't necessarily want to see the value of property go down, because then people who have equity in their homes, that may decrease the value of that equity. But what we do want to see is that they stabilize and become more affordable over time. One of the biggest contributing factors here is the amount of inventory that's out there. There are so many more homes, staying on the market, and there are more homes on the market. Good news is that, homes are selling, and they're selling, 32% more over last year at this time. That's insane. Although there are more houses available than there were last year, we're still selling, they're selling more. So it's not like the market is dead or anything. I think that's a lot of times what people think when they're seeing homes sitting on the market longer. They're thinking that the market's dead. That's not necessarily true. It's just that there are more homes for sale than there are buyers that are able to buy right now. And that's another thing that I want to talk about. The vast majority of people who are trying to buy a home are also trying to sell a home. That means that they need to get their home sold so that they can put an offer in on the next house, or they need to get it under contract. Whenever you're trying to sell your house, you need to, most of the time you're going to use the funds from that sale to, do your down payment and whatever else on the home that you're trying to buy next. Most people are not selling their house to not live in a house anymore. There are a lot of homes for sale, and whenever those homes get sold, that's going to turn those guys into buyers. So we have a bunch of buyers that are just kind of waiting right now to get their homes under contract. And as interest rates start to drop a little bit, we're supposed to get some cuts coming into the end of the year here. Hopefully that is going to kind of jumpstart that and give it a little boost and get this thing moving so that those guys can get their homes sold. So the buyers that are out there right now can go ahead and buy those homes, and then those guys that have just sold their homes, so those buyers can turn around and become buyers themselves and get that market moving again. So just a quick snapshot of last week. As it says here, the Greater Houston market had a strong performance for the week ending August 11th. All key indicators were in the positive territory. Closings were 8.1% above last year's level. Again, we're having more closings than we did last year. I mean, right there, just last week, it's only, 8.1% is still a lot year over year, while showings increased 3.9% year over year. So people are still out there looking at homes more than they were last year. We're closing more homes than we were last year. New listings, we got new listings, obviously we got more stuff still going on the market. Pending listings are up. So that means that houses are going under contract 5.5% more than they were last year in August. But this past week, August 2024, off market listings. So listings are exiting the market, 21.8%. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they're being closed. That just means that they're getting off the market. And that's kind of my personal prediction. I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. I'm just a realtor. But that's kind of my prediction. We're going to see a little bit more of that going into the holidays and exiting the summer, because a lot of people that have had their houses on the market during the summer are going to say, okay, it's been on the market all summer. They're kind of thinking about COVID, and how things were moving a lot more quickly. They're going to get impatient, or they're going to say like, hey, school has started now. Let's go ahead and take it off the market. Also, these builders, I don't know, but I would expect that they may cut back on their building. They have to fill in the land that they bought, but I expect to see a little bit of a decrease there because they have so many listings that are just sitting there and not actually closing. They don't want those things to keep sitting. They need to get their inventory sold. I don't know. I'm just a realtor. People are still out looking at homes. We got 3.9% more people out looking at homes than we had last year. People are wanting to see houses. People are still interested. People are still wanting to buy. It's just like I said, a lot of those people have to actually get their house sold first before they can buy. Apparently there were a little over 9.5 thousand open houses held in person and virtual. I think those are mostly in person. I wish they would show that exactly, but they're probably all in person. Apparently that's a 25% change. Increase. I mean, last year they were only 7.8 thousand. That's pretty wild. I mean, there's a lot more listings to have open houses. But that's great. I mean, realtors are out there, working. We're out here working. So there you have it. There's your Houston area real estate market update from me, Caleb Camp, with JLA Realty. Thanks for watching. Hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, whatever it is. Ring a bell, whatever. I don't know. But please do ask any questions or make any comments in the comment sections. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it, hear your thoughts on it, and answer any questions that you might have. Thanks. Bye.